How the song go?
What song?
The one you just seen. All of my business
belongs to me. You?
You. Me.
All of my business belongs to you?
Business belongs to me.
I said me. You said you.
Mind your business.
Mind your business.
Come on, church.
Come on now. Mind your business.
That is not the video topic at all.
You love me like yeah. You love me like no. You love me like oh. You love me like yeah. You love me like no.
Go ahead.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's
Dre
Bre, and you're watching with the Wait.
What's the topic today, Bre?
Well, let me see your phone then.
Talking about jealousy and relationships. Why y'all so jealous? Why y'all don't trust each other? Why you don't trust it?
We gonna talk about it.
What's the first point, Bre?
Okay, first point. We was actually watching a movie and it was like drug dealers or like money launderers or something, and Dre was like, I don't know how those people what
it was like, I don't know how they drug dealers, because I couldn't just be looking over my back all the time.
And that's the same thing with relationships that you ain't got no trust in.
I never understood it, right? I'm just gonna go on. I never understood it because I had two real relationships. My ex that I had in college, and Bre. I don't trust the high school one. But I've only been in two serious relationships. My second one is the one I'm marrying, the person I'm marrying. Because if I want to be with you, then I want to be with you. If I don't, then I won't be with you. I won't make that commitment. But never, like, I just couldn't be in a relationship that I couldn't trust the person that I'm with. I can't even imagine that. Like, even in my old relationship, we never had trust issues. We had different issues, but never had trust issues, because it's like,
let me tell you, it is tiring.
That has to be exhausting to worry about what somebody's doing all the time, to like feel like you need to check their phone, to feel like I can't fathom that, because I've never had that. Because if I don't trust you and I'm not gonna be with you, who wants to spend that much time, I don't get it.
But you know what I realized is that sometimes in relationships, and what?
Good.
Oh, why are you looking like that?
I'm not good.
Sometimes when you're in a relationship, you get so adjusted and used to drama that it just seems like it's a part of the relationship, and it's not okay that it's like that. Like, I used to be really, what's the word, flabbergasted, looking at my past relationships and being like, girl, how is you going to work, going to school, doing all these things and dealing with that? That is a full-time job. And it's just no mental peace at all. It's something all the time. If you don't answer your phone, where you at, what you doing, who you with? Like, who has time to worry about that? And you don't understand how like crazy it actually is until you're in a relationship that doesn't have those problems. And it's just sad. It's really sad.
It's very sad. Like, I'm gonna tell you how we operate, and people think it's so weird. Like, literally, we do not care if each one of us talks to the opposite sex.
Not at all.
No care in the world. Like,
they're people.
Like, we just see people as people. Like, literally, somebody asked Bre. They was like, oh, she was out with her girls, and they was like, what did he say to you?
Where's Dre? Like, where he at?
He was like, I don't know.
where he's at home, or maybe he left and went somewhere. I don't know. Like, what is he supposed to be here with me? Can I not live my life?
And what he say, like, oh, y'all cool?
He's like, oh, like he know you here? Yeah. I mean, not necessarily this particular space. I said, hey babe, I'm leaving, I'm going out, bye. And I went just went wherever. Like, it's not, you shouldn't have to keep tabs on somebody. That's not healthy.
Like, we sit there and have, like, we talk about, like, oh, I'll be like, oh, yeah, Bre, I went out the other day, and, like, these two girls came up to our table, and we was just sitting there talking to them. One of them is this, one of them is that. And then I'll be like, oh, this one does, like, hair or something like that. Like, maybe you should, like, and she's like, oh, yeah, that's dope. Like, what's her IG or something like that? Did you get her information? And it's, like, not a thing. And she'll do the same thing with guys, and it's like, who cares? Because we trust each other. Oh, imagine, think about your relationships and imagine how different it would be if you trusted that person.
Fully. Like,
fully trusted them. Like, you just, like, didn't, you know, and I know people like, well, I trust them, I just don't trust other people.
Then you don't trust them. Because think about it, I hate when people say this. I'm always like, so if your man was at the club and a girl was talking to him, and then the girl started touching on him, what do you think your man would do? Because if you don't trust the other person, which is the female, and she gonna go do something crazy, well then your man has to react to what she does. And at the end of the day, if there's trust, and if you know that he wanna entertain no foolishness like that, he gonna shut it down. Therefore, it don't matter what the other person is doing, like, at all.
No.
At all.
And then, honestly, for me, I don't mind Bre talking to dudes at all. Like, especially with our business and how network heavy, like, our clients come and dribble. Like, guys naturally will just be okay with coming up and talking to her, or she comes up and talks to a guy. And we have clients who are guys who have come from that, and it's like, it's not, you know, Bre will tell them and they can see the ring. It's like, oh, I'm in a relationship, but at least her being an attractive girl can start a conversation with somebody who could be like a great relationship and even a great client for us, and vice versa. Like, girls come up to me and then end up talking. It's like, oh, this is a dope person. Like, oh, we can use them as a client, or this is, maybe we can, you know, barter a service, or, you know, maybe this is somebody that could look out. And then we always introduce. It's like, oh, like, hey, so this is Bre. Remember? And a lot of times it's like, this is Bre. And it's like, oh, you're the person. So it's like, yeah, we talk about each other to the people that we're talking to. It's not like, oh yeah, like, nah, I don't bring her up at all. It's like, I just don't understand. What's the next point?
Yikes. Have trust. What's the point?
You gotta have trust.
Well, maybe we should talk about how to build trust, since we've already talked about have trust. How to build trust.
I think because I have a very low tolerance for, like, if I don't trust you, I can't be with you. I think I trust you until you give me a reason not to.
I was literally gonna say that, and I was gonna say, girls are gonna be so mad at that. Like, what?
Yeah.
Trust them until. But think about it, right? If you're in a relationship with somebody, right, and we're both fully trusting each other, just simply because we don't have a reason not to trust each other, then you are starting off at a space that is just very healthy. You can communicate openly and just do your thing and have this great bond of trust right from the jump. And if something happens, or if something doesn't happen, and someone's like, well, what if I trust? And then they're doing something behind my back. And the thing is you will know. Like, you can tell. There's definitely things within your relationship that you can tell when someone is hiding something, or when they're not being fully honest, or when their actions and words aren't really adding up. And when things start to feel a little bit like, something seems a little weird, it's probably because it is, like, something's happening. And in that moment, you have a time to ask, like, hey, you know, this and this has been bothering me. Why have, you know, when you walk away, are you turning your phone over? Why are you taking your phone with you? Why, I just saw that you got the blackout screen cover on your phone. Like, do you have something to hide from me? And I think something that is really big with Dre and I, from the jump when we started dating, I think we both just randomly talked about it and was like, so how do you feel about, like, phones? Like, you know, people be locking their phones and whatever. And to me, I could care less. Well, actually, Dre got the new phone, your face thing, so I can't access his phone anymore because it's his face.
She knows my code. You know my code.
Oh, I didn't even know. See, I don't touch this man's phone to even know that I could put the code in. I just thought it was a face only. But anywho, When we first started dating and talking, like, we just had our phones openly in front of each other, like, freely, because there was nothing to hide.
Or
and the moment that changes, where Drake picks up my phone because someone's calling or something, he's like, oh, like, there's a lock on your phone randomly out of nowhere. That's a little weird. You know what I mean? So it's like, have those conversations. And if you're fine with, hey, like, let's not have access to each other's phone. Our business is our business. We trust each other to, you know, respect the relationship and do X, Y, and Z. Then have that. Don't be sneaking in your man's phone after he go to sleep and you find anything to turn into something that probably wasn't even nothing, just because you're so Lulu up here thinking that something's going on. Just have trust.
Yeah, there's times where, like, how we operate, I'll be like, I say, I need to see your phone, and she'll just hand it to me. She won't even be like, why?
I mean, who cares?
Or, like, times like, let me just use your phone as I run up to the store real quick because my phone died or something like that. So, go ahead.
And it's like literally nothing. I mean, we have a total of 5 phones.
Yeah.
So it's like, at that point, take any phone. They're all our phones, basically. But I think that it's important to, straight from the beginning, talk about what makes sense for you. You may not want to have access to each other's phone like we do openly. You may not want to take your spouse's phone to the store. And if that's not what you both want, then do what works for you. I'm not saying that you have to be completely open and, you know, as free and trusting in the whole opposite sex space, but whatever works for you. One of the other biggest things with trust and, like, the whole, like, well, let me see your phone then, is outside of just having conversation with someone of the opposite sex, actually having friendships with someone of the opposite sex. And so what I would say on that topic is there's
huge.
2 things.
It's huge for us. So let me interject here. I have a ton of female friends.
And I love them all.
I have a ton. Like, and literally they're my friends. And, I love them to death, and I don't know. We could do a whole nother thing on female friendships versus male friendships, but I connect with females, and I don't know, we're just cool. And, like, literally, Bre knows them all. Like, you got my crazy lover to death, having fun, getting drunk.
Abby.
Then you got Lindsay, you got Remy, you got Rhonda, even Mel and Mimi, you met through me. Like,
they're my friends now.
Yeah, they're her friends. So it's like, I have so many female friends, and, like, Bre is friends with all of them, and it's not an issue. And even there's times, and people think we're so crazy. I remember one time Bre was like, oh, I'm going up to Earl's, one of our favorite restaurants here in Tyson's. She was like, I'm going up to Earl's, this dude that I knew from Cleveland, like, he's here and he's, like, promoting at some club or something, so I was just gonna have lunch. I ain't never met the dude before, I don't know who he is. I was like, oh, okay, like, have fun.
People be like, what? But it's like, why not? This is my thing when it comes to when you have friends of opposite sex. If you had all these female friends that you were friends with before I came into the picture, 1, who am I to tell you that you can't no longer be friends with them just because they're women? That is so jacked up. It makes no sense. 2, if you knew them before me, that means that you could have had them in that way if that was your intention ever. And seeing as they're just friends still now, you know what I mean? And I'm your woman, girlfriend, fiance, whatever. It's like, why would you even question that? Why can't men have female friends and why can't women have male friends? And so when you get in a relationship and you get into that space, if you don't feel that you should have the freedom to befriend someone of the opposite sex, then you might want to look at the relationship and figure out where's the trust a little finicky at, because that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
And I know for some people that we sound like those equivalent to, like, those billionaires during the government shutdown. It's like, oh, why don't you just ask your parents for money? Y'all probably like, they don't understand the struggle. They don't understand what it feels like to have somebody say, oh, this is my sister, this is my friend, this is my best friend, and they messing around with them. Y'all think we don't understand?
No. Been there, done that.
Well, I ain't never done that.
But he's heard enough about it.
I heard it. But my thing is that we're just saying that, man, I asked this question too, for those people, right? How many of you who say, like, oh, I've been in that situation, he said that was a best friend, or he said that was his best friend, she said that was her best friend.
I know exactly what that's to say.
How many of y'all have saw the mistrust, but didn't leave? You just stayed. So if you stay, I don't want to hear it.
And my thing is, you can't, someone is not a friend if you've never saw them, you've never met them, you don't spend time with them, and the only time that they hang out with your spouse is just the two of them. Now that don't add up and that don't make sense. If Dre had a female friend that I've only heard of or he mentioned and he was spending time with her and texting her and on the phone with her and like literally it was a thing, that wouldn't make sense to me. I would be like, so what was her name? When we all hanging out? Because it's not appropriate. So you have to look at your relationship and figure out like, okay, what do we find appropriate and not appropriate? Where do we draw the line? And then let's make that be what it is. Let's not cross it. Let's not touch it. Like, stay clear of the line, because there's things that at the end of the day we feel that are appropriate and we feel that aren't appropriate. But conversation and hanging out and catching up and all of that, yes, completely appropriate.
And this is another example too. We have a friend, Antonio, one of our really great friends.
Someone just asked me about.
One of our really great friends, and like, there's plenty of times to where we hang out with Antonio together, and we met him pretty much at the same time. And there's plenty of times where we hang out with Antonio together, and there's times to where, like, recently, Bree's just been kicking it with him. Like, she's been going to bars, went to like a gathering with him, and like I wasn't there.
Oh,
Mimi saying, yeah, like I wasn't there at all.
We honestly hang out with him the same amount of time together and separate. It's not that like Dre hangs out with him more because he's a guy. It's like he is genuinely our friend. Like when we talked about, you know, like our bridal party, like he was one of the first people that we named together. Like he's a friend. Just because he's a male doesn't mean that he can't also be my friend. If anything, he should be my friend. If he's gonna be my soon-to-be husband's, you know, close friend, I should definitely be a friend. And I think that sometimes the reason why people stay away from it is because it can get weird, again, if you don't create lines and boundaries of, obviously, I'm not spending the night at Antonio's house, we ain't having sleepovers, that don't make sense. But, you know what I mean? Like, random hanging out and happy hours and whatever. It makes total sense. If it's something that we can do as a group, you should be able to do it solo because we trust each other. And at the end of the day, if it's a mutual friend, we trust the friend too. And the moment that one of us can't trust the friend, then they're no longer a friend. It just doesn't make sense. Once the line is crossed, out of here.
Yeah, I agree, man. I just couldn't imagine it. And like I said, I've never been in that situation to where I was in a relationship and didn't trust her. Like, I just can't imagine how exhausting that has to be. How worrisome that has to be. Like, how, like...
We can barely keep up with our own text messages, let alone if we was checking each other's out. What?
You ain't got time to be looking through nothing. Like, I don't... Like...
And this is the other thing. Oh my gosh. Gotta say this. When a guy... Especially a guy. When a guy is cheating or doing something he shouldn't be doing, best believe he's deleting all of that. So you're going to take all this time, and this is again why I say trust until you have a reason not to trust. Because even if something is happening behind your back, you stressing out and worrying about it and then still not being able to actually do anything, just because you see it don't mean you can stop it. You can see signs and you can bounce. But at the end of the day, you can't worry about something that's out of your control. Once it comes to light, which it will, leave the situation and move on. But it's just like you're gonna be searching and searching and waiting for that one time that they slip up. And let me tell you, these cheaters, they are good, honey. They are deleting. They're texting and deleting. Text, delete. Text, delete. So by the time you pick up that phone, there's nothing there.
You're like, why Domino's texting you at 3 a.m.?
And that someone's actually done that to me.
But this is the thing too, is I would say is that also with, like I said, I trust until you give me a reason not to, but you still need to trust in steps. Like, say for instance, if somebody was asking for money, it's like, all right, I'll give you $5. The first time for you to show me you're trustworthy is I'll trust you with $5. I'm not trusting you with $10,000.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I trust you with $5. The next day you come and give me the $5 back. It's like, okay, now if you come back another day and say, oh, can I borrow 100? It's like, well, I gave them $5 one time. They gave me the $5 back. So I can trust you now,
10.
you know, with a little bit more. But it's still trusting somebody, so I don't want it to get misconstrued saying that we're saying like just trust them with everything from the beginning. But just, you know, it can be real damaging in a relationship if you start off like, nah, I need to see your phone from the beginning. Like, who's calling you? It's like, hold on, this is a second date. Like, what? I don't even know you like that. You asked me to call him. Like that's just
not your place.
Not your place. And I think one of the things that's tough too is that for those who, and maybe you could talk about this, for those who have been in a relationship with like infidelity and cheating, but you decide that, hey, we love each other, I love this person, we're trying to work this out. How do you get that trust back? Or how do you, because you look, and I know a lot of guys who've been in relationships and they cheated and the woman has them back and they feel like they're on the right track, and the woman just isn't really like all the way there, and he's like, well, you know, dang, like I said, sorry,
I'm
like
not doing it.
But he's like, I can't. He was like, if you're gonna keep holding this over my head, like, you know, how are we gonna move forward if you keep holding this over my head? And you understand from the other point of view, it's like, it's hard for me to trust you because I've trusted you before. So what would you think? You've been in a position where you got cheated on, but still decided to try to work it out too.
Yeah, it didn't work out. Simply, I would say this, that I feel especially, well, even more so probably for men be hurt, boy, when you cheat and do something. Even if you talk to another man, they like, what? But I think that when someone cheats in whatever form that is, it's something inside of us that becomes broken, that hurts, and that feels like, dang, like, yo, I can't believe, you know, this person did that. But then you also look at the part of you that loves them and that wants to give them a second chance. And then as you are going through it, most of us, even though we're giving a second chance, we're really not giving a second chance. Like, we just don't trust it. Even if you're trying, it's something inside of you that just feels really crappy. And it's like, I just, all I keep thinking about, all I keep seeing is that, especially if you go into it and you're like, okay, boom, this is the things that we're gonna do and implement so that we can like get back on track and have a healthy relationship. I forgive you, let's move on. And then it happens again. And then you're like, well, what went wrong here? And then there's something else. And basically, if you have not completely healed, it won't work. And sometimes that takes leaving that person and moving on to the next, or leaving that person and that person really being able to change simply because they actually want to change, not because they're being forced to change. They want to change, and then they can come to you and a healing process has happened, and now it can work out. And for my situation, that was not done. It was a hot mess. So if the two people can take some time and be like, yo, this is what we want individually, then you can come together and it can make sense. But at the end of the day, you're hurt, the trust is gone. There's really not much that you can do other than be like, give me the, you know, password to your phone, and, you know, when I call you better answer. It's like, now I'm walking on eggshells and I can't even like live my life like a grown-up. Yeah, you're my mom now. So the healing has to happen.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to start doing lives on certain things, because it's like, I really
questions
want to.
Or what people
it's a whole nother subject. Just with women, I'm always so curious to hear different people's perspective. But as you're saying, like, I feel like in that situation when women get cheated on, a lot of times they blame themselves, and that's why they end up saying that the first question they ask is, what did I do wrong? You know, and I've seen so many women stay through things because they feel like, well, you know, if I did this or if I didn't do that, then it wouldn't have happened.
Or even simpler, you don't really know what love is. So you think that you're in love because you don't even know what love really is. And if you love this person and they did something like that to you, that's not love. You know what I mean? And you're not married, you're not in any obligation at all to deal with anything like that or to work it out. So it's like, it's probably about time to get on out of there.
That's a good new sound, huh?
What?
It means cut it off. But yeah, so not to go on too much of a tangent because we kind of went off there on cheating and everything, but the thing is that for us is this, having a relationship, and it doesn't matter what kind of relationship, whether it's a relationship with your parents, whether it's a relationship with friends, just a relationship in general, because a lot of the core principles of relationship are the same, whether they're intimate or just platonic in a sense. But one of the keys to relationship is just having trust. It's hard to have a relationship with somebody who you can't trust.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm a real job. Don't got the time. But I think that's all on this.
Make sure you subscribe to our channel.
Follow us on Instagram at Brianna Ponte,
at It's Dre Smith,
and at Worth the Wait.
Trust each other. Trust.